Buddy, you're a team on the rise, sharing knowledge every day, preserving wisdom in the cloud, never letting it fade away. You got insights on your mind, big plans for the crew. Sensay's gonna capture it all someday. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. Buddy, you're a new hire, feeling lost, asking questions in the hall. Chatbots got the answers now, lifting you up tall. You got handovers in your hand, fast ramp up coming through. Sensay's gonna empower you someday. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. Feel the peace, the joy, the fall. No more loss, just growth, we know. Buddy, you're a leader, saving costs, boosting efficiency high. Knowledge base is locked and secure under the endless sky. You got the world in your breast, the emotions running true. Sensei's adding value all someday.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for jumping on this call with me today. It's genuinely one of the highlights of my job, getting to talk directly to the community and give these updates and let you know how we're doing at the company. For those who are new, I'm Dan Thompson, the founder and CEO of Sensay. You can find me on any social media channel under the handle @SensayDan. For anyone who's not quite aware of what Sensay is trying to do, Sensay is solving the knowledge transfer problem that occurs when someone leaves or retires from a company and takes all that tacit knowledge with them. So thank you for joining or watching the recording. I've got a lot to share today, some striking industry data, a big deal, a big idea I want to think through with you, and real progress on the product and the update on the roadmap. And we'll have plenty of time for a proper Q&A at the end, so please feel free to post your questions in the comments section on Twitter, YouTube, or LinkedIn, wherever you're watching, and we'll get through as many as we can at the end. Unfortunately, there are no prizes today for questions, but we welcome any questions to come through at the same time anyway. So please do ask questions. If you have something you want me to address, then I'm very happy to get to that. I want to start with a number that stopped me in my tracks this week. According to fresh research, over 42% of HR leaders estimate that inconsistent offboarding, knowledge loss, security gaps, rehiring costs cost their company up to $500,000 a year. And when you ask them what the single biggest challenge is, nearly half say it's institutional knowledge loss, with over 3/4 of companies very or somewhat concerned about it. Let that sit with you for a moment. This isn't fringe worry anymore. This is something that people are genuinely worried about. It's a top of the mind, board level anxiety across the corporate world. And it's exactly the problem we're building Sensay to solve. It gets more stark. There's research from APQC showing that somewhere between 42 and 60% of the role critical tacit knowledge in a job walks straight out the door with unstructured departure. That's the knowledge no one ever wrote down, the judgment, the context, the history, who to call when something breaks. And Harvard Business Review found that the cost of losing a genuine subject matter expert can run up to 20 times higher than the typical recruitment and training cost. 20 times. That's the scale of the value being destroyed every single day because companies have no system to capture what people know before they leave. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. And this is the macro story I want you to hold on to. We're in the middle of the largest wave of AI-driven layoffs we've ever seen. In just the first 5 months of this year alone, over 142,000 tech jobs were cut as companies fund enormous AI infrastructure spending by reducing their payrolls. And that's just in the US. But here's the twist. The market is only just waking up. Here's the twist that the market is only really just waking up to. 55% of companies that made their AI driven workforce cuts now report regretting that decision. They cut too deep, too fast. And the reason is beautifully simple, and it's the whole thesis of our company. AI needs institutional knowledge to function properly. It needs the people who understand the business, the customers, and the context behind decisions. What that means is people have been laying off, some of their key employees for the last 6 months, 12 months, thinking that AI is going to, somehow be a massive cost saver and efficiency driver. And no, I still believe it will be and can be, but genuinely, companies have been suffering because of that, and they've actually had to rehire people back into those positions because they've just suffered so much from the additional cost of tokens and credits, and just AI not being quite as efficient as employees had been in the past. And that's usual at this sort of stage of change, but that takes time to process and get through and improve. So think about what that really means. Companies are laying people off to bring in AI, and then discovering that the AI can't do the job that well because the context left with the humans. There's a brilliant phrase in the research for this. Firms are eliminating the workers who hold institutional knowledge while simultaneously lacking the trained workforce needed to direct and quality control the AI systems meant to replace them. That is the gap. That's precisely the gap that Sensay fills. We are the layer that captures the departing human's knowledge and transfers it to the successor, to the team, and increasingly direct to the AI that's coming in to do the work. Sensay isn't just an offboarding tool. We're becoming the training data pipeline for the AI workforce. And the entire industry is now discovering the hard way why that is essential. This is why I came back from recent conversations and industry events more energized than I've been in months. When Y Combinator, with their pick of any problem in the world, puts out a call for teams building company brains, the pain is real and the capital is about to flow towards it. We've been at this for years. We have the product, the customers, and the technology already in place. So when that wave breaks, we're not scrambling to catch it, we're riding it. Now I want to shift gears and think out loud with you about something a bit bigger, because I think Sensay sits at the intersection of two of the most important shifts that's happening in technology right now, and the Sensay token is central to it. So here's the thought. The Web3 world has matured enormously. The narrative has moved decisively from crypto for the sake of crypto to blockchain solving real problems, real revenue, real utility, real enterprise adoption. And a lot of that's fueled by bad markets over the last couple of years and difficult situations and things not quite going the way, and just typical bear market. But one of the clearest emerging use cases is this: blockchain-based systems that let people own and monetize their data, and that creates verifiable provenance for the knowledge feeding AI systems. Now map that onto what we do. When someone spends hours transferring decades of hard-won expertise into a knowledge base, that expertise is real, measurable, it has real value. So why shouldn't the person who created it share in that value? Why shouldn't there be a clear on-chain record of who contributed what knowledge and some sort of mechanism to reward them for that over and over? As that knowledge gets used by the companies or institutions or individuals going forward. So that's the vision that I want the Sensay token to power. Picturing a knowledge economy where tokens do three things. First, they incentivize contribution. You reward the departing expert, the person on maternity leave, the retiring founder, for taking the time to transfer what they know properly. That directly attacks the completion rate problem, which has been one of our hardest challenges. Second, tokens create alignment. Token-based ownership models connect performance and contribution to real value, which improves motivation and retention. And thirdly, tokens create a provenance and a liquidity for knowledge itself. A transparent record of whose expertise powers which knowledge base in a way for that value to flow back to the people and the community who built it. That is a genuinely novel idea, and it's one that almost no one else in the enterprise knowledge space can execute because they don't have a native token in a community like this one. So let me be concrete about the first step, because we're already building it. One of the incentive models we're developing uses Sensay tokens to reward knowledge transfer completion, with the company purchasing those tokens from the open market to fund the rewards. That creates a direct structural link between platform usage and token demand. The more knowledge transfers we power, the more tokens flow back through the market. Usage and token value start to reinforce one another. And that's the flywheel we're building toward. And I'll just say clearly, none of what I'm sharing today is financial advice, and everything on the token side is subject to regulatory and technical constraints as we build it. I want to be upfront and responsible about that. And the usage is already there. I'll give you a real signal. We recently had a customer use Sensay to capture a departing senior team member's knowledge. A standard offboarding case on paper, but weeks after that person left, the usage of that knowledge base kept climbing. The team kept going back to it, asking questions, pulling context for decisions. And that's the moment that Sensay stops being an exit tool and becomes an everyday operating system for the whole team. And we're seeing that pattern repeat. Customer token usage is up meaningfully, which tells us people aren't just running the interviews and walking away. They're actually living in their knowledge base and using them day to day. I want to pause here and put a question to you, because I genuinely like the input from the community. As we grow, we want to report the metrics that matter most to this community. So have a think and drop it in the chat or raise it in the Q&A. Which single metric would you most like us to share on these calls going forward? Could it be active knowledge bases, enterprise client sign, token usage and demand, completion rates? Tell us what would give you the most confidence, and we'll build some of our reporting around it and make sure that you get that information sent out to you. On the product side, the team has shipped a huge amount. A wave of fixes and refinements made the whole system noticeably smoother, tighter interview flows, sharper responses, more polished Slack and Teams integrations. And two things genuinely set us apart from what I've seen elsewhere are advanced voice-to-voice interviews, which capture nuance and tone that text-based competitors miss completely. And our deployment model that meets teams where they already work rather than forcing them into yet another tool. I also want to say something directly to the community, because we've been listening. We've heard you on the marketing side, that we could be louder, sharper, more consistent, how we tell the Sensay story, how we help to promote the token, and how we help to just raise awareness all around. And we're acting on it. So expect a noticeable step up in our marketing efforts in the weeks ahead. And we've heard you on communication. You've told us you want to hear from us more often, so we're committing to running these community calls every 2 to 3 weeks going forward. Consistency builds confidence, and you deserve both. So we're going to show up more regularly, share the wins and the challenges honestly, and keep you close to the journey. On the roadmap, we are more or less exactly where we expected to be at this time. Expect our temporary handover product for maternity leave and sabbaticals, Sensay-funded completion rewards going live, business rescue for retiring SME owners, expansion into new verticals like healthcare, real estate, and finance, and the AI workforce training pipeline I described earlier. I'll let the roadmap speak for itself. When it lands, we'll be updating it very soon, but I wanted to hear the shape for it soon. You can still find the roadmap from a couple of months ago on Twitter or on our blog. So we're pretty much still aligned with that. So there's not too many real updates to it, other than that we're following it along. Which brings me to today's ask. We are actively looking to speak with HR managers and people leaders in North America, Europe, and the UK. The people who feel this pain every single day. If you can make a warm introduction to an HR director, a chief people officer, a head of talent, we want to talk to them, and we'll reward valid introductions with Sensay tokens. One good intro can move the needle enormously for us. So let me close with the continued vision for Sensay. Picture a world where no business dies because a founder retires with no successor, where no team loses a decade of experience the day someone hands in their notice, where people who build knowledge are rewarded fairly for it, transparently on-chain, and where the AI systems entering our workplaces inherit human wisdom rather than simply erasing it or replacing it. That's the world Sensay is building, and the data this week tells me that the whole industry is finally catching up to what the community has been believing in all along. So thank you for your energy, the introductions, the questions, and the conviction. Serious work ahead, serious momentum behind us. Let's keep building, and let's grow this into the company we know it can be. Right, we're going to open up for Q&A. I'll stay on for as long as we have questions. So please do fire them off in the comments on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on YouTube, and we will bring up as many as we can throughout this time. But to kick us off, we actually had a couple of questions submitted beforehand, so I'm just going to pull those up for you just very quickly. Won't be able to show them on screen, but these questions came through the last couple of days on Telegram. So from Jerry, asked in the main chat, he said, asking about the total tokens now in circulation, because there's two different figures showing on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So I want to thank Jerry for pointing this out. Actually, both are wrong. So CoinGecko shows that all are in circulation, whereas CoinMarketCap still shows a slightly outdated figure of 52% of the total supply. It's actually close to about 70%, following along from our original light paper. We haven't deviated. So it's more like, I think, 72% at this point for the total circulation, although a lot of those are still held by a treasury wallet that haven't been touched or used because they haven't really been needed. So at the moment, it's close to 72% rather than 52% on CMC. So we're going to get those updated, and we will. It just takes a bit of time. The forms to fill up the CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko updates take quite a long time. So we'll get those updated as soon as we can. We got a couple of questions from Tomasz. So Tomasz asks, does Sensay have positive cash flow? The answer to that is no, not yet. We've been very clear about that for pretty much every time it's come up in conversation. So no, we're still working towards that. Still working towards that true product market fit. Really and that's why the big drive really now is getting those introductions to HR managers, getting in front of the customers, talking to them, and then also growing the product inside of that. So hopefully not too much longer, but still not just quite yet. I think that's usual in a lot of early stage startups. He also asked, if a client purchases a plan with Sensay tokens, are you still forced to sell the token because financials are tight? No, we do allow the purchase of plans through Sensay tokens, but we don't get that many requests for it, in all honesty. The type of clients we have, the enterprise clients, don't usually buy the actual plans through the tokens directly, but if they do, no, it just goes into the treasury, so alongside the other tokens that haven't been touched or sold. So I wouldn't worry too much about that either. So thanks so much for the question. And one other one came through on Telegram today from Shane Loftus. Question about the token: are you shocked to see the current market cap price drop so low, and what would you value it at? So for those who know me, they know I'm a big believer and supporter of free markets. I think that the way crypto is and can be is a very good indication of how the world operates and how certain things do get valued. With that in mind, am I surprised it's gone down this much? Yes, as much as anyone. I still have a huge amount of tokens that I've personally bought, and also believe in the project to actually have and haven't touched or sold. Anyone can check my own wallets anytime they like. But the reality is that it's been tough. The market's been down for pretty much every token that launched in 2024 have suffered arguably much worse than we have. So we've actually done relatively well compared to them. I know that's not what people want to hear, but that is the truth when you look at comparative tokens of projects that still aren't around now because of that. So where would I value it at? Genuinely, we set the original launch valuation at a price we thought was fair for the company and what we thought would be fair for the token going forward, and we still believe that's a fair value. So we still think there's a lot of upside, a lot of opportunity for growth, and belief in the project for the future in terms of what we can actually achieve and how we can get there through building a profitable business that can actually create that flywheel that I discussed earlier by generating enough interest, but not only just in profit from customers, but also mechanisms that allow tokens to be bought off the market via both profit buybacks, but also from customers using the tokens for their own incentives. So yes, there's potential upsides, but the market that we're all in right now is crazy, quite frankly. I mean, nothing has made a lot of sense for quite some time, and that's just not great. It's not just crypto. That's gold and metals. It's stocks and currencies. So there's a lot of things out there that have been a bit a bit all over the place. And I think altcoins have suffered probably a unfair weight of that in particular. And the ones that haven't per se, I guess, when you really look into some of their tokenomics, you see that the actual amount of circulating supply is extremely small. And so, it's much easier to manipulate general price than what we've done, which was a fair token from the day we launched it as a fair launch, with solid and stable tokenomics for the future. So the reality is, we are a bit more subject to the market, which means the price of Ethereum, which means the price of the Sensay token. But we are still here and we're still building. So there is genuinely that positive side to look at compared to some of the other projects. All right, so I've got one other quick question here in advance. Someone was asking about our bug bounty program. Our bug bounty program stopped back in October last year, so we haven't had that around for a while. So I don't really have a proper answer for the question around that. But guys, I'm not sure if anyone has any other questions. I'm not too many showing up today. So I mean, if there's no other questions coming through from YouTube, comments, Twitter, LinkedIn, then I guess we can keep it a bit shorter today. I'll just check on Telegram as well, make sure that nothing else is coming through right now. Maybe it's just a weird time on a Friday afternoon. So we'll probably try and arrange some times. But I think, yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, as always, you can reach me in the in Telegram or on Twitter or anywhere else at Sensay Dan, and you can ask me anything or ask our team anything when you come through to the channel, and we'll get back to you, as quick as we can. So we're always there, always live. If you tag me in the Telegram group, you can always ask me anything directly. So for now, I guess that's going to be this week's community update. And if you have any additional questions, please do ask them. I guess some people will watch the recording of this, and we will see you in a couple of weeks for the next quick update. So thank you very much for joining, and hope to see you next time.
In the next few years, millions of experienced employees will leave the workforce. When they go, their knowledge, the stories, the systems, the silent genius goes with them. And today's hires want more than a handbook. They want mentorship on demand, but can't find it. Meet Sensay. Sensay preserves your most valuable asset, your people's expertise, by creating intelligent, always available knowledge bases built from how they think, speak, and solve problems. Sensay captures their expertise and turns it into a living, searchable source of wisdom. More than knowledge capture, this is wisdom on demand. Sensay gives your organization something it's never had before. Scalable, personalized wisdom. Available 24/7. Sensay answers the repeat questions and shares what used to be locked in people's heads, so your team can get back to what they do best: leading, building, creating. Sensay's the smartest investment you can make in your business. Build your knowledge base. Build your future.